We have all been taught that debt is bad, right? But what if I told you that the rich don't just use debt, they love it. In fact, they have mastered a secret formula which most of us don't know. In this video, I am breaking down the powerful strategies rich people use to turn debt into a tool for building a massive wealth. By the end, you will see debt in a completely different way and maybe even learn how to use it in your advantage. So let's start. Number one is misunderstood power of debt. For most people, debt is villain of their financial stories. It's credit card bill they can't escape, the student loan that haunts them, the mortgage that feel like a lifelong prison sentence. But for the rich, debt plays a very different role. They don't see it as a burden, they see it as a leverage. Leverage. The keyword. It's a difference between lifting a heavy boulder with your bare hands and using pulley system to do same job with ease. When used correctly, debt magnifies financial potential. But let's be clear, this is not about reckless borrowing or piling up debt for instant gratification. The rich people use debt strategically to acquire assets, things that grow in value or generate income. Number two, the real estate game. Take real estate. You have probably heard that one of the best way to build wealth. But here's a kicker. Most wealthy real estate investors don't buy properties outright. They use debt to do it. Imagine this. Sarah buys a $1 million apartment building with a $200,000 down payment and $800,000 mortgage. The tenants pay rent, which covers the mortgage and leave her with a steady cash flow. Over time, the property values increases. 5 years later, it's worth $1.5 million. Sarah still owes bank $800,000, but her equity grows to $700,000. Now, instead of selling the property, Sarah take it a step further. She refinance, pulling out some of the equity as a cash. What does she do with that money? She buys another property, repeating the process. This cycle of leveraging debt to acquire income producing assets is one of the reasons why rich get richer. Borrowing to build businesses. But it's not just about real estate. Let's talk about business. Every major company you can think from Amazon to Tesla use debt to grow. Jeff Bezos did not build Amazon into a $1 trillion empire by using his paychecks. He borrowed, raised capital, and reinvested relentlessly. Debt allows entrepreneurs to scale their business faster if they relied solely on their own savings. With the business loans, they can hire more staff, invest in technology, or expand into new markets. Yes, there is a risk involved, but potential rewards is outweigh the costs, hidden benefits of debt. Now, here's a twist you might be seen coming. Debt come with perks. Let's start with taxes. When you borrow money, the interest you pay on a certain type of debt like mortgage or business loans is often tax deductible. This reduces the overall cost of borrowing, make it even more attractive for wealthy. And here is another advantage, inflation. Most people hate inflation because it makes everything more expensive. But for the rich, inflation is an ally. Why? Because as inflation rises, the value of money they borrow decreases in a real time. If you borrow $1 million today, their debt becomes less burdensome as inflation erodes the purchasing power of money. Meanwhile, the assets you purchased, like real estate, typically increase in value. And next one is good debt versus bad debt. At this point, you might be thinking, this sounds great, but is not debt dangerous? And you would be right if you use it recklessly. That's why the wealthy distinguish between good debt and bad debt. Good debt is used to acquire assets that grow in value or generate income. As mortgage on investment property, the loan to start business, or even the money borrowed to invest in yourself, like getting degree that boost your earning potential. Bad debt, on other hand, is used to buy things that depreciate or don't provide any financial return. Think luxury cars, vacations, or high-interest credit card debt for impulsive purchases. The wealthy avoid bad debt like a plague. And next one is debt as a wealth multiplier. Here's another secret. The rich don't just use debt to acquire assets, they use it to multiply their wealth. Let's revisit Sarah. After refinancing her apartment building, she uses extra cash to invest in the stock market. But she does not just buy any stock, she looks for opportunity with high potential returns, like undervalued companies or dividend-paying stocks. And it does not stop there. Many wealthy investors use debt in a form of margin loans to amplify their stock market investments. For example, if Sarah invests $100,000 of her own money and borrows an additional $100,000, any gains she makes are effectively doubled. Of course, this comes with risk, but the rich people are expert in managing those risks. Role of discipline and strategy. Next and the most important thing is role of discipline and strategy. strategy. If this all sounds like a cheat code, remember this: it only works if you disciplined and strategic. The rich don't gamble with debt. They plan meticulously, calculate risk, and always have safety net. They ensure that the income from their investments are more than enough to cover the cost of borrowing. Maybe your question is, can anyone use this strategy? Here's the good news: you don't have to be rich to start using debt strategically. The same principle apply on a smaller scale. Maybe you use mortgage to buy your first rental property or a business loans to start a side hustle. The key is to think like an investor, not as a consumer. But here is a catch: it requires financial literacy, discipline, or a willingness to take calculated risk. It is not about borrowing, live beyond your means. It is about borrowing to build better future. So the final takeaways are: how do rich people use debt to become wealthy? They use it as a tool to acquire assets, grow businesses, and multiply their wealth. They leverage tax benefits, take advantages of inflation, and focus on good debt while avoiding the bad. It's a strategy to build on a discipline, knowledge, and a long-term mindset. The next time you hear someone says debt is bad, remember this: it's not about debt itself. It is about how to use it. Will you use it to hold you back, or will you use it to move forward? Choice is yours.